Hey, what's up, everybody? Hold on a second. What's up, everybody? Will Frazier here, your credit expert, bringing you the tips you need to get your credit back on track because what goes down must come up. And if you don't want your credit score to drop 300 points, make sure that you like this video. Doesn't cost you a dime. Just hit the like button on the video. Helps YouTube share it with more people. And, your credit score won't drop 300 points. So that's a benefit too. And today, I'm coming to you from the phone. You might see my setup is a little bit different. I'm actually out of town right now for a wedding. So my setup is a little different. So bear with me. But today, we're going to be talking about everything that it takes, step one to step whatever, in order to actually build up good credit. So I'm actually going to answer your questions as well on this live. But the main thing here is we're going to be talking about building good credit, all the steps that it takes to do so. And hopefully, if you have some questions, those can get answered today. And you'll have the game plan that you need to be able to get to a better credit score than where you're currently at. Um, Again, just make sure that you like the video. And if everybody can hear me, make sure you leave a comment. Let me know that you can hear me so that I'm not just talking to myself and that you guys can actually get these good tips that I'm giving out to you. So don't be afraid to go ahead and leave something in the comments and just let me know if you can or cannot hear me. But as mentioned, today we're going to be talking about building credit from A to Z, everything that you need to know in summary, and we're going to go ahead and get started with the first tip. But first off, if you're new here and you're unfamiliar with who I am, my name is Will Frazier. I have a credit repair business that I've helped people with their credit for the last 7 years. So I have hands-on experience with seeing how items affect a person's credit score, on a month-to-month basis, seeing things be removed, seeing things be added. So this is where my knowledge base comes from, as well as various trainings and conferences and stuff that I go to learn this information. In addition to that, I also had messed up credit too. And I had to go through the steps that it takes to actually learn how to build credit, how to correct those issues that you may have going on your credit reports. I had to go through all of that stuff. I've had, repos, collections, um, utility bills, all that stuff on my credit before. So I definitely have been where you have been, and I definitely know what you may be going through, which is why I help people to this day to make sure that they are able to overcome those obstacles just the way that I was able to do all those years ago. But again, let's go ahead and let's get started with the information. There's a good bit of information I'm gonna share with you guys today. And if you are in need of help with your credit, whatever the situation is, make sure you look down in the link, in the description for the links where I actually have different tools that you can use to help yourself when it comes to building credit, especially that first link which is titled "How Can We Help You?" So you can go to that link and find all bunch of different resources free that you can actually use to help your credit situation, whether you're working on it yourself or you need help. So, all that being said, let's go ahead and let's get into the information today. So, when you're trying to build credit, it can seem a little bit daunting because at sometimes while you're trying to actually build up your credit, you may run into obstacles where you do certain things and your credit score drops. Or you may be thinking that you're doing the right actions and your credit score is increasing very slowly. Maybe 5 points here, 10 points there, but you really haven't seen a whole lot of growth over a particular amount of time that you would deem enough time to have built credit and whatnot. Now, when it comes to time frames, there are certain time frames that it takes to see certain level of results. So that does come into play when you are trying to build your credit. But outside of that, if you follow a strict game plan that is designed and from experience and actually seeing how or what you need to do to actually build your credit, then you will see more success as far as the increases in score. You will see more success as far as the time frame that it takes to see those increases in score. And you can know with confidence that you are actually taking the right actions versus trying to figure out if you're really doing the right thing that you should be doing, because it's very easy to get misled and go down the wrong paths based on the information that you are getting and who you're getting it from. So that's why having the best game plan, of course, and the best information is going to help you to see better results when you're trying to build credit. And again, I'm going to go over everything that you need to know in order to make sure that you are doing this the right way and to make sure that you're actually seeing good results while you're trying to build up good credit. So, the first step that you need to be focused on when you're trying to build credit is going to be that you need to be thinking about the inquiries. I know more than likely you're already thinking about the inquiries that it would take in order to build credit, and you are gauging whether or not you want to build credit based on if you're going to get an inquiry or not, and if you're going to get declined for something to try to build credit with. And when we're talking about building credit, we're not talking about disputing things. What we're talking about is trying to add accounts to your credit report that will actually help your score, or how to manage accounts better that will help your credit score based on you managing them the proper way, which most of us have been taught the wrong way on how to manage credit accounts. And of course, that's something I'm going to cover while we're on this live today. But basically, again, with the inquiries, a lot of people are scared of inquiries. A lot of people think that the main credit issue that they have is their inquiries. Inquiries account for about 10% of the score. So when you look at that, it tells you that there are about 90% of other factors that go into your credit score that can actually affect you way more than what your inquiries do. But yet inquiries are usually the top issue that I hear people talking about, and the main thing that scares them away from building credit. So when it comes down to the inquiries, I want you to look at them a little bit differently and more so for what they are, so that you can have a better understanding of how they would affect you while you're trying to build credit. So when it comes down to the inquiries, what you are uh, looking at as far as how they affect you, let's say with them, accounting for about 10% of your score, the inquiry would take away maybe 10, 5 points. Usually it's going to be somewhere around 3 points, 5 points, something like that when it comes to how many points the inquiries take away from you. Now, when you understand that, you can look at the benefit of actually getting an account that would actually help you build your credit. So when you are trying to build credit and you look at the fact that an account that is a good account that can help you build credit might actually give you 60 points, 90 points. It can give you a lot of points, especially if you have not been building credit, especially not the proper way. Then you can kind of see that when you're weighing those options out, that getting 60 to 90 points is going to be a lot better than you trying to get, than you losing, I'm sorry, 5 points or 10 points for an inquiry. Now, you may still be like, okay, well, I'm still going to lose points, right, for getting this inquiry. And of course, if you find an account that has no credit check, which I'll show you some options for that. If you have some options with no credit check, you don't have to worry about an inquiry at all. But if you are dealing with something that is going to be an inquiry, which we need to address, yes, it is interesting. But if you are looking at an inquiry, which is something that we're going to address, if you have to use an account that's going to give you one, you need to look at the fact of, is this really going to be costly to me, so much to the point where I'm scared of actually building credit? So the way that the credit score works, when you actually apply for an account that's going to give you an inquiry, is going to be like this. The inquiry may cost you, let's just say, 5 points. So you apply for the account, you get the inquiry. While everything is being calculated, you might lose 5 points to your credit score. Now, some people may look at that as significant difference. I can tell you that really 5 points is not significant. You may say that every point, adds up, all that good stuff, but 5 points is not significant. So, with that being said, you might lose 5 points. Then at that point, you're waiting for the credit card or whatever it is to hit your credit report that's going to help you to build credit. So, with that credit card, let's say that you're about to get 60 points. It varies per person. So all of that is based off of how the algorithm calculates everything that's on your credit report, not just one or two things. It's everything on your credit report. Every person's credit report is different, so you're going to see different amounts of points for different situations based on who you are and what your credit situation is. But we're going to go with 60 points. So you have 5 points over here that you're about to lose from the inquiry, and you're waiting on this account to hit your credit report. But when it hits your credit report, you're going to get 60 points. So at the end of the day, when you look at it and how it calculates in your score or translates into your score, you are actually going to those things are going to cancel each other out. So simple, math right there. You got 60 points when it hit your credit report. As soon as it hits your credit report, you see that difference. If it has not hit your credit report yet, you won't see that 60-point difference. But as soon as you hit it, you will see the benefit from whatever account you're using to build credit. So if you're getting 60 points and that inquiry took away 5, you get about 55 points. Now, most people, again, would be scared to get an account because they're so worried about an inquiry, which affects 10% of your score, which is very minute as far as how many points it takes away. So you're worried about 5 points being taken away, but you have 50, 60 points sitting over here. And when the two cancel each other out, you get 55 points. Now, you tell me if it's worth it or not to get an account to build credit, even if you have to worry about an inquiry. Of course, again, there are some other factors when it comes to inquiries, like some accounts that you may apply for. The lender may be like, we don't want you to have X number of inquiries within a certain time frame. And they may not tell you that. That may just be already a part of their process. So when they're looking at your credit report, they know how they're going to make that decision. So they just make the decision. You don't know what criteria they're using, and that's part of their criteria. Usually it's within the last 3 months. Sometimes it may be different depending on the lender. But with that being said, if you have had that to happen and you have an inquiry, then usually it's going to be probably the bigger banks and lenders that might say, that might be more strict on the number of inquiries and the time frame. But usually you're not really going to have that problem. So really, again, it's something that you wouldn't have to be concerned about. But if it was, let's say they don't want you to have more than one inquiry in the last 3 months. So you have that one inquiry. Yes, at that point, it can be something that can cause you a problem. And it's not necessarily causing you a problem as far as the amount of points that you just lost. So that's a rarity, but that would be the time that the inquiry would affect you more. Even still, even though you're not losing a whole bunch of points. But again, that doesn't happen very often. That's not going to be most lenders. So again, that's something that you may not have to worry about. So again, I say all that to say, you shouldn't be worried about the inquiries, especially if you know that you're applying for an account that has a high approval rate. So even if you're getting an inquiry, if you get approved for the account, you're still going to get the big benefit of having that account that you need to build credit. So because of that, you don't have to be worried about how many points you're going to lose from this inquiry or even having the one inquiry. Because, like I said, it's going to be rare that they're going to care about how many inquiries you have in a certain time frame, or it's going to be rare that you have enough inquiries for them to decline you just based off of inquiries. So, again, with the inquiries, I know they can be a concern, but when you're building credit, they are not a major thing. And again, if so far this has been good information, make sure you guys like this video to make sure you too can share with more people so they can get this information too. Don't be selfish. Help other people be able to see the same information that you're getting, especially if you think this information is good. So go ahead and leave a like. Doesn't cost you no money, but if your credit score gonna drop you 100 points if you don't like it. I'm just saying. So just go ahead and hit the like button. But seriously though, when it comes down to inquiries, that's what you're looking at. So now, hopefully, you've gotten past the worry or the concern of getting an inquiry when you're trying to build credit. And you can see that it's worth it to actually get the big bonus because it will cancel out that little point decrease that you see just from getting an inquiry. Now, with that being said, you also want to look at another very, very, very important factor when it comes to building credit, and that is who are these accounts being reported to? When I'm talking about who, I'm talking about the credit bureaus. Most people don't think about this when they're trying to build credit. And, it's just we're not trained to really think about that. We're just trained to, I need to go get a secure credit card. I need to go get a secure loan. I'm gonna just go to my credit union. I'm just go to the bank that I already use, and I'm gonna use them to build credit. That's how we are programmed to think, already by default, for whatever reason. Excuse me. But because of that, now we have to really think about what it is that we're doing to make sure that we're intentional on who we go to for these accounts, and to make sure that we're intentional about making sure that we're doing the best thing. Because what you need to know is that every account that you may apply for, secure card, unsecured card, secure loan, unsecured loan, wherever you go to build credit, it is extremely important that you are aware of what bureaus they report to. The reason why that is so important is because when you not just are applying for accounts to build credit, when it's time to actually go get the thing it is that you want to get with your credit, whether it's a certain credit card, whether it's a loan to get some property and flip a house, whether it's to get a home that you just want for you and your family, or to get a car, whatever it is that you're trying to go get, each lender checks a specific credit bureau. Some go to TransUnion, some go to Experian, some go to Equifax. You don't know who they're going to check usually. There are some lists out there that do share information as far as who checks what bureau, but for the most part, if you're not looking for that, or if you just went into some place because you know you needed something, you're not thinking about that. But that place is going to check a particular credit bureau. So the problem is going to arise when you're trying to get approved for something in a situation where you have been building credit with the credit union that you've always used, and you're unaware that they only report to one credit bureau. So now, because they only report to one credit bureau, you thought you were doing a whole bunch of good things by building up credit on that one credit bureau. Well, you didn't know you were building it up with one, but you thought you were building up credit and you think you're doing a good thing. Now you go to this lender that doesn't check the bureau where you have been building up credit at. And now you get declined and you're confused and you don't know what happened. You thought you were doing all the right things, but yet you just got declined for the account that you were preparing yourself to be able to go and get. So now, because you got declined, you're disheartened, you feel discouraged, you feel like it's a waste of time trying to build credit, you feel like credit cards don't work, loans don't work, whatever it is that you're feeling, because what you thought you were doing didn't work out for you in the long run, but it was just because you didn't understand that certain accounts report to certain bureaus, and the lenders that you need to go to buy something, they check certain bureaus, and you're just unaware of that. They don't explain that to you. And I know this for a fact because I worked at Wells Fargo for a long time, a while ago, before I started my business, and we didn't explain stuff like that to people. They didn't even tell us to explain stuff like that to people. And we wouldn't have known that we needed to, honestly. So, we aren't armed with the information if the person works at a bank. So more than likely, when you go into a bank and you talk to the teller, you talk to the banker, they may not know that information. You probably think that they do because they work at a bank, but just because they work at a bank doesn't mean they understand credit. Just because they work at a mortgage lending office doesn't mean that they understand credit. Mostly, we are just putting information in the system when we work there, and we just see what the system tells us back. And we, as a person, are probably giving you our best explanation of what happened if we even do that. Because some people, if you got denied, they just send you on your way. But and you could, if I'm wrong about that and you've heard people that really try to help you, if you've heard something different, let me know in the comments. That's cool too, because there are some people that actually do try to help you. But for the most part, they don't teach you that understanding, but most people assume that you do when you work at a bank or a credit union. But either way, that is one of the main problems that causes people to get denied because they're unaware of this information. So again, what you want to do to make sure that you don't end up in that situation is you want to make sure that when you are applying for accounts to build credit, that you are actually looking to see if this company reports to TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. Ideally, you want accounts that are going to report to all three credit bureaus. Now, you may not be able to get an account that does all three. There are a lot of them out there, but you may not be able to find an account that does all three. But at the very least, you want to make sure that they report to two bureaus, because at least you've covered two out of three bases and you've covered the majority. But eventually, you still want to get some accounts that are going to report to all three. In the beginning, that may not happen, but just try to find somebody that at least reports to two. I do have a list of some options in the description, so make sure that you do check those options out. That will be beneficial in that way, because I try to make sure I only recommend things that will at least do that, to make sure that you don't have that many problems or no problems when it's time to go to the lender. So that is very important. So make sure that you are noting that and being intentional about searching out accounts that do that. If you don't use the ones that I already provided to you down in the description. So make sure that you are definitely paying attention to that. Again, if that is information that you guys have not heard before, leave a comment before, because I'm curious to know how many people have actually heard that before, how many people this is new information to you. So, just tell me in the comments if this is new to you or if you already knew that. And again, don't forget to like the credit, no, like the credit score. Don't forget to like the video if this is new information that is helping you as well, because it helps YouTube to show this information to more people. So definitely hit the like button if this is something that is being helpful to you. Now, beyond being aware of, inquiries don't hurt you that much. Okay, so it is new information for you guys. Okay, I see. I'm glad that you are getting this information. So I'm glad that you're here today. I know it's in the afternoon. Some of you guys may be at work. Hopefully you're not working just to listen to this information. But it is what it is. This is something that's going to be helpful to you in the long run, and you can share this with other people too. So when it comes down to inquiries, don't be scared of them. Don't let them stop you from building credit. When it comes down to choosing the accounts that you're going to use to build credit, make sure that you are actually using accounts that will report to at least two bureaus, but ideally three credit bureaus. That's going to be the best for you, to make sure that you have done build credit in the right way. That is going to help you to get approvals when you go into the dealership, the credit card place online, whatever it may be. So now, another important thing that we want to cover, in total, it's going to be about 7 things I'm going to give to you guys that's going to be very crucial to you building good credit the right way, to make sure that you can get approved the next time you go and apply for something, so that you don't get discouraged and you end up not getting, not, well, just giving up on building up credit. Now, the third thing that is very important that you need to know is going to be the time frame. And that's talking about how long it actually takes to build credit if you don't have a credit score, or if you have not used credit in a certain amount of time. So the way that your credit score works, it's all based on your credit activity within the last 2 years. Now, there are information on your credit report that's longer than 2 years, but it's really based on the last 2 years of your credit activity. And that's what they use to generate your score. Now, if you are a person that is brand new to building credit, you don't have any accounts, you don't have any loans, any credit cards that you have paid on before in the past, you don't have any. You are going to be looking at a certain time frame when it comes to building credit, and that is going to be about 6 months, really, based on the scores, the algorithm, and how it calculates. But I'm telling you 7 months, and I'm saying 7 months because of the fact that when you apply for an account, it may be that you apply for that account after they have already sent their information to the credit bureaus for the month. If they've already sent that information in, you're going to have to wait extra 30 days before they actually send your information to the credit bureaus. So with that being said, it can be a month in arrears, behind, that you actually see that information hit your credit report. So I'm saying 7 months because of that reason. Now, with that being said, the 7 months, no problem, no problem. But yeah, it's The reason why I'm saying the 7 months is because you want to just give it that much time to hit your credit report so that you can actually see the difference in in your credit score. So, don't feel bad if you haven't seen it in 6 months. It can take 7 months, depending upon the reporting time frame. Now, when it comes down to what you have to do in that 7 months, to build up good credit, well, that part is very simple. When it comes down to that, it's just basically, it's based on you paying on time. That's the easiest thing that anybody can do, unless you're in a financial, bind right now. Paying on time is the simplest thing that you can do to make sure that you are actually building credit in a way that will help you score by the time that 7 months has passed. Simple, easy. You just need to know that it's going to take that much time. Now, you might be looking at Credit Karma to check your credit score. So even if you are a person that's maybe at 3 months and you have not had credit before, you might be seeing a credit score on Credit Karma. Now the problem, or the reason why you might be seeing a score on Credit Karma is basically because Credit Karma uses a Vantage credit score. Now the difference between credit scores, that's for a whole nother lesson. But Vantage credit scores are different from FICO credit scores. FICO credit scores will only generate a score after you have used credit for at least 6 months. So if you haven't been using credit for 6 months, seven, for reporting time, then you won't see a credit score, even if you have collections or negative information on your credit report. Now, with a Vantage credit score, which is what Credit Karma uses, you will see a credit score generated, even if you have not used credit for that amount of time. So that's just one of the differences between those different scoring models. So on Credit Karma, you'll see a score, and usually, if you have not built credit for 6 months and you have a collection, it's not going to be a good score. Usually, it's going to be in the fives or something like that. It'll increase after you hit that 6 to 7 month time frame, but outside of that, usually you're not going to see the benefit as far as a good credit score until you've reached that time frame. Now, that's if you are, new to building credit. Now, also for those of you that have had accounts in the past and, you have not actually had an open account on your credit report within the last 2 years, you will also not see a credit score in FICO. Because again, it's based off of your last 2 years of credit history. Or I'm sorry, you might apply at certain places, and those certain places might tell you you don't have a credit score because you don't have um, any recent activity, recent being within the last 24 months, and then they may tell you that you don't have a credit score even though you've had accounts in the past. Now that can be based off of the different versions of FICO they may be using, because there are different versions of FICO. So that's something else to be taken into consideration. But usually, like I said, in most people's situations, especially even if you just have bad credit going on your credit report that's causing your score to be low, you are trying to build credit and get some on-time payments to override those negative payments that you may have on your credit report or the negative information on your credit report. Because if you have a whole bunch of negative information, late payments, collections, charge-offs, all that stuff, but you don't have an account showing that you can pay on time, you are not going to have a good credit score. It's just not going to happen for you, because you have to, if you have four accounts showing that you don't pay people on time, and you don't have anything showing that you do pay people, that you showing that you do pay people on time, then you're going to have a problem with your credit score because the balance is not there. If you have four accounts showing that you don't pay people on time, you have one account showing that you pay people on time, your balance is not there. You need to have more balance showing that you pay more things on time than not paying people on time. That's important too, even if you have a past credit history. So, just remember that in regards to, building up credit, you also want to make sure that there's a good balance there, good accounts versus bad accounts. So all of that ties into, the time frame and the amount of time of you having good credit on your credit report to help your credit score. So keep all that into consideration while you're trying to build up your credit. Now, you kind of know, what you need to be looking at in regards to if you should start building credit or let inquiry stop you. Um, what kind of accounts you should be looking at in regards to if they report to certain bureaus that they don't, because you don't know what bureau they're going to check when you go apply for something. And you also know how much time with these accounts you need to be building credit in order to actually see some good results in your credit score. So all of that, taking into consideration, that's what you need to know leading up to getting whatever it is that you're about to get to build up credit. Now, all that being said, now you need to know how getting certain types of accounts will actually affect your credit score, because getting different types of accounts can affect your credit score differently. So, of course, it's going to be very important to know what accounts you should use to get the fastest and highest or largest number of points as far as results. So, that's very important. Again, make sure you like the video if this information is good and you are getting new information that is helping you guys out. So, first, we're going to talk about credit cards, building credit with credit cards. Before I do that, let me get some water. Okay, so building credit with credit cards. This is going to be the best method that you can use as far as building credit. You can still use other methods like loans, because really it's just credit cards and loans. But credit cards are in most situations, going to be the best option for building credit. Why are credit cards going to be the best option for building credit? Well, basically, the simplest way to put it is that you will get the most points and you will get them the fastest by using credit cards versus using a loan. People can still benefit from using loans. I'm going to get to that, but credit cards are going to be the best way. Now, when it comes down to building credit, what I have seen personally and from dealing with hundreds of other people that's working on their credit, everybody is scared to build credit with credit cards. Everybody is scared of credit cards. Well, at least most people are scared of credit cards. Why? More than likely, you probably got a credit card in the past, probably while you were in college or while you were young. You probably didn't use it the right way. You got in a whole bunch of debt. It started the issue with your credit problems. So now you have a bad taste in your mouth from the credit cards. Now, if I'm wrong about that, please let me know in the description. But if that sounds about right, let me know in the description too. But and it was me. It was me too. So that's how I definitely know about that, because back in the day when I got into college, they came to the campus. They was like, "Hey, you sign up for this credit card. We eat some free pizza." I was hungry, so I said, something. I'm gonna just sign up for the card, get some free money. That's what I thought it was, and get some pizza too at the same time. And it was CC's pizza, so it wasn't even the greatest amount of pizza, but the greatest pizza. But I still did it anyway at the time, and didn't know how to use a credit card. Ended up getting into all types of trouble with the credit card, and of course, it ended up messing up my credit at the same time. So I've been there, done that. Definitely understand that issue. Now, when it comes down to you using the credit card and people not wanting to, you've probably had a family member that had a credit card before, and they came to you telling you, "Hey, don't get credit cards. They'll get you in debt. They'll put you in all types of trouble." So you definitely don't want to use a credit card. And then from that moment on, you got scared. You decided you wasn't going to use them. You wasn't going to use them at all, and you tried to avoid them like the plague to keep yourself from going into debt. Well, first off, I have to tell you that a credit card is just like any other tool, like a hammer. If you are trying to hammer things into the wall and you are using the hammer in a manner that you should not use the hammer, you probably gonna hit your finger and mess yourself up pretty bad. Now, at that point, you can't be like, "Well, all hammers are bad. All hammers are horrible. I need to stay away from hammers." Telling your children and generations beyond you not to use hammers because you hit your finger on the hammer because you wasn't using it the right way. That's usually how we end up in those situations where we avoid certain things, and especially credit cards. So don't do that, and don't be that person telling other people not to when you know that you just used it the wrong way. Just don't tell other people not to use something that's actually good just because you used it the wrong way and got into trouble. Now, That's usually the why people avoid them. But again, with the credit cards, the only thing you have to know how to do is use it the right way. If you know how to use it the right way, you'll stay out of debt, you'll be able to build credit, and you'll be able to do greater things. Like get yourself a house, get yourself investment property to rent out and start building wealth, be able to invest into other things, with your credit, or get things that you want with your credit because you use credit the best way, which is with credit cards. Build credit the best way, which is with credit cards. Now, the reason why I'm telling you this is because, again, it is the greatest benefit that you'll see and the fastest one. The reason why is because with a credit card, it's all about the way things show up on your credit report. Now, if you're familiar with the five factors, the pie chart of FICO, which shows you how many points, I'm sorry, the percentage that certain areas affect your credit score, then you'll be familiar with what I'm about to talk about. The main two things, well, the main one thing that helps credit cards benefit you so much is the amount of debt owed, which is 30%. The largest thing is your payment history, which is 35%, which is why it's simple to know you need to just pay things on time. But 30% is the amount of debt that is owed. Because 30% is the amount of debt that is owed, if you owe a little bit of debt, it helps your score a lot. If you owe a lot of debt, it hurts your score. Very, a lot. It hurts your score a lot. So when you're looking at that, that determines how it's going to affect your credit once it hits your credit report. So, the way in which a loan, I'm sorry, the way in which a credit card shows up on your credit report and how they calculate this amount of debt that you owe. They look at your credit limit, which I'm sure you've seen on your credit report. You go to your Capital One credit card, you see that line on that account that says credit limit. Let's say it's $500. So you see that, and then you'll also see the balance. Now, when it comes to the balance, it's going to have a certain amount. When it hits your credit report, initially, if you have not used the card before it hits your credit report, it should say $0 owed for balance and $500 credit limit. Now, they use a calculation percentage wise based on that. So at that point, you would be at a 0% utilization because the credit card hits your credit report with no money owed and a credit limit, so you have money available to you, and you had a 0% utilization. That shows up as a very beneficial position to be in regards to credit utilization. So usually when a person gets a credit card for the first time, what I've seen, and which is why I mentioned those numbers earlier, I've seen a person get anywhere from 60 points to even 90 points just from getting a credit card. Just from getting it. They hadn't used it, they hadn't done nothing else with it yet. They just got a credit card, it hit their credit report, and they got that many points. And that's within 30 days, unless they missed the reporting cycle and then it took 60 days. But other than that, it was very quick and very large as far as the amount of points that you get, which is why, again, credit cards are very beneficial. Now, if you don't have any accounts on your credit report like this, then you are not getting the benefit of that 30%, which is the second largest percentage of something that affects your credit score. If you don't have a credit card or anything, you're not getting a point benefit from that area. So, not having a credit card is hurting you. The main thing that you need to get to help your credit, you are not getting because you're scared of something that somebody else told you, or because you messed up and used it the wrong way and you got the card, you got approved for it before you even it hit your credit report, you maxed it out and it hit your credit report, you didn't really see a benefit, then you didn't pay it, then it hurt your score, so you just think it's not a good thing to use. But in reality, again, if you would have just known, because you probably didn't know, if you would have known to use it the right way, you would have seen a major benefit and you would know how much is helpful versus hurtful. So, all that being said, that's why the credit card will help you score more and quicker when you are trying to build credit, which is why I tell people again to get credit cards to build credit. So keep that in mind. Now, of course, you need to know how to use it properly to make sure that it's not hurting your credit score. Um, And of course, when it comes down to that, how to use it to make sure that it's benefiting your credit score. What you want to do to make sure that you don't go into debt with the credit card is make sure that you're not you first off, it's a mindset thing. It definitely is. If you think you just got free money like I did back when I got my first one, you will end up using this for the wrong purposes. You will end up using it to get all the things that you have been wanting to get, but you couldn't afford because you didn't have the free money to. So now you're going to go use this free money to go get some stuff that you've been wanting to get, and then you're going to max out the card, and then it's not going to help you because with that utilization, you want to keep the percentage that you have used, meaning your balance versus the credit limit. You want to keep that under 10% ideally. At most, don't use more than 30%. Ideally, you want to be under 10%. So you want to, I think it's $150 on the $500 limit that you want to keep your balance under. Now, again, just to be specific, it's not about how much you swipe the card for, because if you swipe it for 150 with a $500 limit, you'll be at 30%. I'm not doing the math in my head. I'm just guessing from trying from familiar. I can't even talk. Familiar, whatever it is. You get what I'm saying. With the 150, you want to make sure that you aren't spending more than that to make sure that you're 30% or lower. Now, as soon as you go past that, like if you swipe it for some more before you've paid off that balance, then your percentage will continue to go up. If you have not swiped the card again and you're still at that 150 balance, then you're just paying off that balance and it's going down. Now, ideally, that's where you want to be at. You want to get your balance no higher than that and then not swipe the card again. So it's not about how much you swipe it for, but keep the percentage low is the main idea that you want to be focused on with that. If you do max it out, it is going to drop your credit score tremendously if it hits your credit report showing that you have maxed out that percentage. The good thing, again, about a credit card, if you were able to pay that off very quickly and get it back down by the next month and it's reported to your credit report, then you will see the benefit of that. So if you lost 90 points because you maxed out the card, you should get the 90 points back when you pay off the card. It's just that simple and just that quick. So again, a credit card can easily be used even if you max it out to get back to where you need to be. Relatively, because it depends on what your limit is, how much you spent. It may not be as easy to pay it off quickly, but that's why you want to make sure that you're following the next steps that I'm about to mention to you to make sure that you aren't spending beyond the percentage that you should. So once you know what your credit limit is and you are looking at these percentages, I'm telling you, 10%, ideally no more than 30%, then you know the maximum that you should be having as a balance on that credit card and you know to avoid that. Now, usually in most people's situations on the lower end, when you have a lower credit limit, you want to use that for gas, use that for going out to eat here and there on some, simple stuff and then just pay it off. You want to use the card for stuff that you would usually pay cash for within that month. That way, you already had the money to pay for that because usually you pay for it with cash. You just use the credit card for it so that you can build up credit. And now you're gonna pay off that amount with the cash that you would have usually used to purchase it. And then you are not spending outrageously, going to get things that you didn't have the money for already. You're spending money on things that you already had the money for. So it's easier for you to be able to pay that off and not have to worry about it. And then you don't go in debt. You build up good payment history. You keep your percentage low, and you help your credit. This is the easiest and simplest way that you can use the credit card. There are some other, more advanced things you can use credit cards for, but for the purposes of building credit and getting a higher score, without going into debt, that's how you want to use the credit card. If anybody has never told you this, growing up in a household, and if anybody has actually been in a household where you actually got some good financial information, please leave that in the comments. I know a lot of people have not had that situation. I did not have that situation growing up. I had to learn the hard way. with everything dealing with my credit. So I know a lot of people who are also in that situation. So if you had the hard knocks of credit information, and you had to learn yourself, and you didn't get that information in the home growing up, you can leave that in the comments too, because I'm sure some of the people out there resonate with me on that one. But that's how you want to use the credit card to build up credit and keep yourself out of debt. So, again, so far, don't worry about the increase to build credit. If you can't find no credit check items, cool, but don't worry about the inquiry if you do have to get an inquiry. Just make sure you're using a place that has a higher approval rate for people with lower scores if you have a low score. Next, we want to focus on who they report to. Do they report to all three bureaus? At the very least, make sure that they report to two. But we want ideally all three bureaus being reported to by this account I'm about to be using to build credit so I don't get denied when I go into the lender. Next, time frame that it's going to take to build up your credit. It's usually going to take about 6 to 7 months just to give it enough time to report on your credit report. And you will not have a score until then in FICO. You will have a score in Vantage, but you won't have one in FICO. So again, that's very important to understand, to know what you're seeing or why you aren't seeing a credit score, or if you're seeing a score, it's a Vantage score if you have not built credit up. All that's very important to know. And what I just mentioned, credit cards give you the highest point increase in the quickest amount of time, and they will help you more tremendously, especially if you're using it the right way. If you are using it the right way, you will love credit cards from that point going forward. And we haven't even talked about getting reward points and, like I said, the other things you can do with the credit cards. But this is just building credit. But you will start to love credit just when you start seeing the benefits that you get from it. And one last point about credit cards, the balance that gets reported to your credit report. You need to be looking for the statement date. If you know what the statement date is, that is the date that they are going to send the information that's going on with your credit card to the credit bureaus. So whatever your balance is, at the time of the statement date, whatever it is at that date, they're going to send it to the credit bureaus. If you pay down balances before that statement date to make sure that they're under that percentage, then you will ensure yourself that it hits your credit report and it's going to be beneficial to you. If you pay after the statement date, that maxed out balance or that high balance will be reported to the credit bureaus, and then you will see a drop in the score. So if you have paid off a card and then you still saw that you didn't see a point benefit, it's probably because you didn't pay it off quick enough based on the statement date to ensure that you saw that benefit. So don't blame it on the credit cards. You need to look at the statement date to be sure of that. And that's the last point with the credit cards. Now, if you're trying to build credit with loans, first off, it's not going to be super beneficial for everybody to build credit using loans. It's only going to be beneficial in certain situations. Credit cards work more universally. Oh, and I forgot a point about the credit cards. I'll mention that when I say that same point about loans. But with loans, in certain situations, it's going to be helpful and beneficial to you. In certain situations, it's not. When it comes down to loans and building credit and who it will be the best for when you're trying to build credit, it's definitely going to be more beneficial to those that have not had loans before. Secondarily, more beneficial to those that don't have an active loan. The reason why it's more beneficial to those that have not had a loan before is because there's another percentage of your credit score on that FICO pie chart which deals with different types of credit. That is about 10%. So a credit mix is what it should be called on most pie charts. Sometimes they term it differently, but basically it's just about you having different types of accounts. You having a car loan, you having a credit card with a bank, you having a credit card with a different type of institution, like for buying clothes, like at a retail card or something like that. Having a mortgage. Those different types of loans help you score differently. I'm sorry, different types of credit accounts help you score differently. Having different types adds to the benefit that you see in your credit mix, which is about 10%. So having a loan when you have not had one And especially if you don't have any accounts to build credit at all, you will see the biggest benefit score wise with any type of account that you're trying to build credit with. So if you're in that situation, you will see the biggest benefit. Anybody else that's not in that situation will not see as many points. And like I said, first, people that don't have any, you will benefit the most. If you have had one in the past and don't, but you don't have any active loans now, you might secondarily at on the second level, I would say, see a benefit, but you won't see as great of a benefit as the person that has not had one at all. And anybody with current loans, like if you have a car loan, if you have a personal loan, it is not going to benefit you to get another loan. It's not. Sorry to tell you that, because I do see a lot of people that go and try to get those credit builder loans. They pay it off, they get another one, pay it off, get another one. You don't have to do that when you're trying to build credit. So you see the most benefits to your score, meaning the largest increase in score if you have not had any. The problem with loans, why they aren't as universally good as the credit cards, is just the fact of the 30% that deals with the amount of debt that you owe. Like I said, with a credit card, when it hits your credit report, you get a credit limit and you get a balance. Your balance is usually at zero. So it shows up as you don't owe anything. So of course you're going to see a good benefit from that in your score. With a loan, you will see on your credit report that it has a line that says high credit. And then you'll see a line that says balance, just like with the credit card. So the high credit acts as your credit limit on a credit card, or is similar to it as far as how it affects you. They're calculating a percentage based on your balance on that loan versus the high credit limit. The high credit limit is just the maximum amount that you took out for that loan. So if you took out a $2,000 loan, the high credit should say 2,000, and when you hit your credit report, the balance is also going to say 2,000. So at this point, it looks like you owe a bunch of money versus you have a bunch of money available to you, like with the credit card. So because of that, that means that the loan shows up as debt owed, or like a maxed out credit card, which is why it actually does not help your score. And in some cases, it can drop your score as soon as you get it because it shows up like a maxed out credit card as far as how it's calculated in your score. You have to be mindful of that when you're trying to build credit. Now, the other thing that you want to look at is that as you start to pay down the loan, it does start to help your credit because that percentage is going down just like a credit card that you might be paying down. So as soon as you get closer to the end of that loan, it is going to start to benefit your credit score more and more. Now, the balances on credit cards affect your credit score more than balances on loans. So you will see a more dramatic increase. Like if it was the same dollar amount, like a $500 credit card versus a $500 loan, um, you will see a more dramatic increase in your score from the credit card than you would from the loan, just so that you know, again, why the credit card is so beneficial. But with the loans, they show up as debt as soon as they hit your credit report, and then as soon as you pay them off, the account closes. If you've heard before, or if you haven't heard, you should know, when you pay off a credit card, it actually hurts your credit score. So because of that, it actually hurts your credit score when you pay off a credit card. The thing is going to be, the effect is going to be that when you pay off a loan, it's going to hurt your credit card. It's going to hurt your credit score as well. The reason being, that benefit that you get from that 30% area of amount of debt owed, that is now cut off just like it was when you didn't have that account. You don't lose points because of the age of the account, because the age is still there, because on your credit report it's still going to say whatever date you open that account. So you're not losing age, you're losing the benefit from that area, which is the amount of debt owed, or your utilization, of the utilization of debt. So that is why it will actually hurt your score, and why you don't want to use loans frequently, because with a loan, every time you get one, you have to pay it off. So after you've gotten that initial one to build credit, you got it, and it helped your credit, of course, when you first got it. You paid off and your score will drop. If you've ever paid off a car loan and looked at your credit right after you paid off a car loan, you probably saw your credit score drop and you didn't know why because you thought you did a good thing. If that sounds familiar, leave that in the comments to let me know if I'm correct or if I'm incorrect on that. Now, if you have not seen your score drop after paying off a car loan, I would, challenge you to investigate if anything else happened at the same time. Because usually, if you just pay off a car loan and nothing else changes, you will see that your credit score drops. I've not seen that not happen unless something else happened, like maybe you paid off your car loan, but you also paid off your credit card. So you got the benefit of paying off your credit card, which was maxed out, and you had the negative effect of paying off your car loan. So they canceled each other out and you didn't see a negative effect. Or you saw your score go up because you paid off the credit card though. But yeah, paying off loans, usually that's going to be what you would see. And that's why they aren't as beneficial long term because with a credit card, they never close. When you pay them off, they still stay open. So you don't have to worry about that effect of closing the loan and it hurting your score. Again, with a loan, you still want to have one on your credit report. So you still want to use one to build your credit. Like um, in the description, I have a loan company, Credit Strong. Credit Strong, when I looked at their average customer reviews or whatever, as far as when they were saying how many points they got as an increase, I saw an average that they were saying they got a 90-point increase. The customers were. Um, so basically, looking at that, you like I said, you can see a major benefit, especially if you have not had a loan before. So, like I said, Credit Strong is down in the description. You can check them out and see what I'm talking about for yourself. But this is based off of the information that they had, and customers saw big benefits from that. And I've actually seen people get loans and see a big benefit too, especially if they have not had something before. So again, if you have not had a loan, it will benefit you more than a person that has already had one or that currently has one. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at the results that you're getting by building up credit, which is why I'm explaining all of this to you so that you can know and make the best decision so you can get the best results. Now, when it comes to, like I said, loans, that's what you're looking at. So again, summarizing, don't worry about the inquiries, build credit versus worrying about the inquiries. Worry about who they report to. Make sure you get at least 2 or 3 bureaus reported to. Make sure that you have built credit for at least 6 to 7 months. Make sure you use credit cards above all things or go to them first to build up credit. And loans are going to benefit people the most who have not had any type of loan on their credit report. It's going to benefit you the most. You're going to see the greatest benefit. Now, I got about 2 more points I'm going to share with you guys. One being another alternative way that I've seen people use to try to build credit. That way is, and you may have heard of this, the Experian Boost. Experian Boost is basically where you go to Experian's website, you log in, you try to build credit by adding your utilities, your phone bills, or what is it? The streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus. Your Verizon phone, your T-Mobile phone, your water bill, your electric bill. You basically are using those things to help build up credit. Again, if you guys are enjoying this information, make sure you like this video. Now, use that to try to build up credit, and you log into your account. They will look through your transactions. They will see basically, what accounts you've been paying on and stuff like that. And then they'll ask you to confirm, hey, I've used this account, so I want to build credit using, these specific accounts that I pay every month. So you hit confirm, they add it to your credit report on Experian, and then you're supposed to see a point boost in your credit score. Now, from what I've researched, basically people get about 12 points from doing this. And one major concern that I have is the fact that I've seen credit bureaus get breached before, so I'm not all too sure that I would want to connect my bank account to the credit bureau because they already have a bunch of personal information, but now they would have my bank account information, And if anything were to go wrong, which there have been a lot of hacks this year, but if anything were to go wrong, I wouldn't want my information to be connected to it if something did happen. Now, beyond that, you would do this, they would add it to your credit report. Now, the parts that they don't really clarify too good for you is that the fact that with the Experian Boost being on your credit report, what they're going to do is they're going to actually um, add payments on your credit report that are equal to the monthly bill that you usually have to pay. So if your electric bill is usually like $250 or something like that, your phone bill is like $300, all of that is getting added to your credit report as a balance and as a payment of that same balance. Now, this may not seem like something that's negative, but I'm gonna explain that further in just a second. But that's how they add it to your credit report. Now, anybody that is trying to do this to build up your credit so that you can have an easy way to build up your credit, and you're trying to avoid that inquiry, but you're trying to have an easy way to build up your credit, and you're about to go and apply for something. Here's the problem, and I mentioned it earlier. If you go to somebody that does not check Experian, they check Equifax, they check TransUnion, whatever you have added to your credit to build up the credit score will not be seen because that company doesn't check that bureau. So again, that's reporting to one bureau, which I've told you is not the best thing, and that makes it not the most ideal way to build credit. Now, other than that, it only shows up in certain versions of credit scores. So different lenders use different versions of FICO. So some may use the older versions like 2, 3, 4. Some may use the newer versions like 8, 9, or 10. I don't think it's too many people using 10, but there are different versions of FICO scores, just like everybody has different versions of Windows on their computer. No lender is forced to go to the newest version, and Experian Boost only shows up in FICO 8 and FICO 9, and they show up in Vantage Score 3.0 and 2.0. So if you check Credit Karma, you'll see the benefit because Credit Karma uses Vantage Score. However, the lender that you're going to, they not using the Vantage Score. And all of them don't use FICO 8 and FICO 9. So even if they do check Experian, if they're not using those versions of FICO, it's still not going to help you, which makes it a limited benefit as far as using that to try to build up credit. Now, in addition to that, another problem with the Experian Boost that isn't really mentioned is how they report it on your credit report. So if anybody has tried to get a home loan before, you go get that home loan, they check all three of your bureaus, um, and basically what's going to happen is they also calculate your debt to income ratio. Your debt to income ratio is based on the amount of payments that show up on your credit report on account. So if you have a car loan, whatever your payment on that car loan is, whatever it shows on your credit report, they're gonna add that into your DTI. Your payment for your personal loans, any credit cards that you have, they add that into your DTI. So all of that are things that can increase your DTI, which if your DTI is too high, you can get denied. And also, if your DTI is too high, it can lower, well, just depending upon what the number is, it can lower how much money you get for the house, which is why most lenders will tell you don't get a car before it's time to get a house, because that new car payment can significantly lower how much money you get for a house, especially based on your income. So, looking at that, and a car note can be anywhere, maybe $300, $500 if you're getting something brand new, a lot more than that, especially SUV. But if you had a $300, $500 car note, that can significantly lower how much you get for a house. So if you're looking for a $200,000 house now, and that's the only type of houses that you like, now you may have to be limited to getting something that's 150,000 or less than that, just off of a $500 payment we add to your credit report. And like I mentioned, if your phone bill is 300, your light bill is 200, 250, that's $500 right there that you just added to your credit report, not thinking about what I just mentioned. So now you may either have a high enough DTI where you just don't get approved because it's too high, or you significantly lower how much money you get for a house. Now that's all things that you need to take into consideration. If you have an extremely high income, that may not be a problem. But if you don't, that's probably something that you want to think about. So you have to take that in consideration while you are trying to, build up your credit, especially when you're using Experian Boost. So make sure you think about all of those things. And now, the last thing I want to mention to you guys when trying to build credit, because I know people, they advertise, trade lines and stuff like that, and paying for trade lines and all of this, but um, or people just think that they can go and get an account to build credit, and that that's going to be their saving grace to get approved for whatever they want to get approved for. But that is not the end all be all, and that will not be your saving grace if you also have negative accounts on your credit report. Excuse me. So if you have collections on your credit report, if you have charge offs on your credit report, if you have late payments on your credit report, while getting an account to build credit can help you, if you have negative accounts on your credit report, you will get limited help. Just like I told you, the benefits of the credit card will outweigh the inquiries as far as how many points you gain and lose. It will the good benefit will cancel out the negative benefit, so it makes more sense to build credit versus worry about the inquiry. Well, you also see a canceling out of the benefit of these good accounts if you have negative accounts on your credit report. So you still can't get around the negative accounts. So if you got an account to build credit, and let's say you have a severely negative credit report, you got a bunch of late payments, collections, and all that on your credit report, and you get an account to build credit, you might only see a few points. You might see 10 points, 20 points, and it may not be enough to get your score where it needs to be for you to get approved for what you're trying to get approved for. So you may think building credit doesn't work because you see that. The problem is you just had the maybe 80 points that you would have got canceled out by that negative stuff. So if you saw a 20-point increase, maybe you were supposed to get 80 points, but the stuff affecting your credit canceled out about 60 of those 80 points, and you only saw 20. It's a possibility. So again, if you wouldn't have had those negative accounts there or that negative information there, you may not have had a little increase like that. You might have actually saw your 80 points you were supposed to get, but you didn't see it because you got that negative stuff sitting there. I say that to say the negative stuff has to be dealt with. You cannot just build up credit and ignore the fact that you owe Victoria's Secret $8,000. You can't ignore the fact that you owe your cable company $1,000, that you owe your phone bill $800 for your old phone. You can't ignore that stuff. It's still there and it's still affecting your credit score. So you have to deal with those negative accounts if you want to see the full benefit of having good credit and building up a good credit score that you can get approved with. Now, some of you guys may have gotten to the point where you did build up credit, you still have that negative information there, and you have a really good credit score. So you're thinking that you're good to go get approved for something. But most people think that the credit score is all you need. The lenders have it built into their systems with those automatic approvals, or if they look at your credit, that they are going to look at the items on your credit report too. You can have a 700 credit score, and if you still got a whole bunch of charge-offs where you owe people a whole bunch of money, that they are not going to approve you, or you still got a bunch of collections, they're still not going to approve you. So you can see a good score thinking that you're going to get approved and still get denied because you have negative information on your credit report. And that's something that you have to deal with. You can't avoid it. It's no getting around it. You have to holistically work on everything on your credit. Build good credit and deal with the negative accounts. So I'm just saying this to add this in so that you don't think that building credit is going to be the only thing that you have to do, because I don't want you to leave away from here with that thinking go get denied, and then think I didn't know what I was talking about. So I want you to know that you have to do more than that. With the negative accounts, it's almost always going to be more beneficial to have them removed than to try to pay them. Because if you pay them, more than likely they're going to drop your score, or you will see no benefit in your score. Or you may see a benefit maybe 6 months to a year from now. And some of you don't have that kind of time. So if you actually need to have negative accounts worked on, because it's not as easy as most people think, um, there are some cases where you can Google information and see where people have been disputing stuff, sending in documentation for years or months. One case in particular, I remember, lady had been sending stuff for 8 months, sending the proof that an account wasn't hers. It legitimately wasn't hers, and they did not remove it off of her credit report. She had to sue the credit bureaus and go through all that process just to get something negative removed. Now, this is with a consumer just doing it the regular way most consumers do it. Of course, there are better ways of doing it that can yield better results. And if you are in need of help with that, well, first off, you can take a shot at it because you have that right. You can take a shot at it and try to do it yourself and see what type of results that you get. If you see good results, that's great. I would ideally recommend you sending paper disputes versus doing it online, but try to send in the paper trail and do your disputes that way to see better results. If you need more help beyond that because you're not seeing results, I have tools in the description, some free and some that are paid, that you can use to get better results than what you're getting or to get better direction on what you're doing. Because again, we don't want to do a whole bunch of actions, waste time, and then still not end up where we want to be. We want to be using time efficiently, doing all the right things. So at the end of the time frame that we're working, we can go get what we want to get. So if you can do it on your own, that's great. Go ahead and do it. I recommend that you do that. If you need help, there are tools down in the description that can help you with that I created myself, that I use myself while I'm helping my customers. So I know that this stuff can help you too. So check that stuff out if you need that. If you just don't, if you have been trying and you just not seeing good results and you just want to pass it off to somebody else, you can do a consultation with me. Down in the description, you just sign up for a consultation with me. You'll get put on my calendar. I'll look at your credit. I'll see exactly what needs to happen, what doesn't need to happen based on your situation, and then we'll move forward from there. And you'll have all the information on the table to know what you want to do. And if you need the help, I'm here to help you. But try it yourself. See what you can get done. If you can get it done, that is great. That is amazing. That saves you money. Anything that you can do to help yourself, I am definitely here for you to do. If you need my help, I'm here. Just reach out to me and I'll be glad to help you. But ideally, we're going into the cold season, and I don't want you guys getting hit with the cold shoulder by these lenders in the cold season. Because I already know y'all have y'all mind on stuff y'all trying to pick, y'all trying to spend money on for Black Friday and all this other stuff that's coming up. So, ideally, of course, don't get into debt when that time comes, but you want your credit to be in a better space before you get to those times where you actually need something, whether it be a house, a car, whatever it may be. You need to be in a perfect position that you can go get what you want to get at the time you need to go get it versus not dealing with your issues with your credit and then ending up in a situation where you didn't do anything beforehand. Now you need something because your car broke down and now you gotta have a car, but you didn't do what you were supposed to do ahead of time. Now you need a car now, but you gotta wait all this time to work on your credit, and you have to deal with the car issue until that gets done versus already being where you could be. Now you need to move from where you're at currently to get into a new house for more space for your family, for a safer place for your family, whatever it is. But you didn't do what you need to do beforehand. Now you need to do it now, but you can't do it now. And now you got to wait months trying to get things in order. I don't want any of y'all to be in that position. I know what it feels like. I've had family members, I've had friends, and I've talked to and helped countless people that have been in that situation. I hate seeing people in that situation, and I don't want you to be there. So, again, hopefully this information was helpful. If it was, Make sure you like the video. Make sure you share it with anybody that you know may actually need this. Share this on your Facebook if you think people on your Facebook page, your followers, your friends, they may need to hear information like this. And I would be very grateful and appreciative of that. But leave any questions that you may have in the comments, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that you guys may have in regards to building credit or anything that I mentioned, because I know I did go over quite a lot, trying to get everything in there to make sure we covered all the bases here. And I know we've been on over an hour now. So, I know you guys probably got things to do as well, especially if you're on the clock and not doing what you're supposed to be doing on the clock. But, I, that's neither here nor there. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask me those questions. I'll be glad to answer those for you. And while you guys are getting that in, because it's probably a delay on me seeing things in the comments, because I don't see any comments right now. Let me see. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything in the comments. Okay, hold up. Is that okay? I see one question. Depending on how many credit inquiries on your credit report, can you get denied for credit? So you gotta watch out for that. Oh, well, I'm sorry, that's more of a statement. But yeah, that is true. It depends on how many inquiries you get within a certain time frame to get denied for that reason. There are several different reasons that you can get denied, like your credit score, the amount of inquiries in a certain time frame, and also the types of accounts that you have on your credit report. So all of those things are reasons that you can get denied. So you got to pay attention to all of them, not just the credit score like most people want to do. But again, giving you guys some time to put some questions in there. If you guys don't have any questions, that's good. I'm pretty sure y'all already at a 700 something score already if you don't have any questions. But if you're not at a 700 something score, you probably have some type of questions. So again, feel free to leave those in the comments. But I'm gonna just summarize everything again for you guys. Inquiries, don't be scared of them. Go get the accounts that you need to build credit, because the benefit will totally outweigh whatever the cost of that inquiry is. A lot of the options I gave you down in the description have no credit check at all. No credit check at all. So you definitely don't have to worry about that. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to see if I can switch my camera and show you one of them. Okay, yeah. So right here, this is one of them. Chime. You may have heard of Chime before. They have a debit card that you can actually use. They have a spending account option, but one of the great benefits that they have is a secured card as well to help you build credit. No annual fee or interest on this at all, which is very good. No credit check to apply, no minimum security deposit to apply. Basically, however much money you have in your spending account, you can send that over to this secure card. It is a different type of secure card based on how it works, but you can send you can send money over from your spending account to this credit builder card, and that is the amount that you will be able to spend on that credit builder card, and you can build credit with the payments that you were making. So this is the Chime card. This is one of the options I have in the description. As you can see, increase your credit score by an average of 30 points with their secure card. So on average, their customers have seen a 30-point increase from using this credit builder account. And the fact that they have no credit check is great. You don't even have to worry about getting an inquiry. So that is one good option as far as a credit card option. And over here, we got Credit Strong, as I mentioned to you before. Now, Credit Strong, they are a credit builder loan. And the way that they work is basically you get the ability to make payments. Well, they have no credit check as well, by the way, but you get the ability to make payments as little as $15 a month. $15 a month on your credit report, it would show up as $1,000 loan that you're paying, but you're really not paying a loan because you didn't get money up front. Basically, the $15 a month you're paying is being put into a savings. At the end of the term, you can withdraw any money that you put in to that savings minus the fees that they charge fees. Now you can see here that they mentioned 120 months worth of payments. So based on this $15 loan for $1,000, that would equate to a lot of money. But you can cancel this at any point in time. And like I mentioned to you, basically the only thing that you really be doing when you're trying to build credit this way is you want to use it for at least 6 to 7 months. Now, with a loan, as I mentioned, when you close it, it can temporarily drop your score some. But with this, the main point that you want to be focused on is the fact that you are building up credit history, especially if you have not had a loan before. This is something simple, not that much money every month that you can invest into to start building credit. You don't have to pay it for 120 months. Pay $15 for 6, 7 months, and then you can cancel it. Take whatever money is left over out of the savings. You're not on the hook for anything. Of course, you want to be mindful to pay it on time because you don't want to get hit with a late payment. Because just like any other loan, if you pay it late because you did agree to terms to pay this over a certain time frame, so if you pay it late, you'll get hit with a late payment. So just don't do it. It's $15. They do have other options too, but you can start off with something as simple as this just to get credit built. And again, it's no credit check. So you don't have to worry about an inquiry. They report to all three bureaus. So, it's really something beneficial. You can avoid the long period of paying it off and you can build up credit in a way that is lasting and that will actually, help you get to a good credit place as far as your score, your payment history, all of that. So all that is stuff that you want to keep in mind while you're trying to build credit. And it looks like none of you guys have any questions on anything. But again, check out the description. I have 4 different options for you to use to build credit. Credit Strong and Chime are two, one credit card option, one loan option. And as I mentioned, there's the link that you can get help from us. So to see how we can help you, regardless of whatever your situation is, whether you trying to do it yourself and you just need some tools and resources to give you some information to make sure you're doing it the right way, I have that for you. If you need somebody to do it for you and you just want to be hands off, check out the dollar credit. Well, I'm about to say the wrong thing. Check out the dollar credit consultation. You just pay $1 for your credit reports from our recommended source for credit reports. That gives us detailed information on each account for all three bureaus and the FICO scores. So you pay $1 to them, 7-day trial, and we'll check out your credit reports. If we can't help you, you cancel before the 7-day trial passes. And if we can help you, we take things forward from there. But you'll have all the information on the table before you make your decision and sign up for the services. But we're glad to help you with anything that you may have, whether it be late payments, inquiries, collections, charge-offs. We're glad to take a look at everything and see how we can help you get to a better place with your credit. You know, in a more efficient way than it may be if you were trying to do it yourself. Some of you guys are busy. You may not have the time to send out disputes for 15, 5, 10 different accounts every month. Check the results. See what you need to say next, especially if they say that it's verified or something like that. You may not know what to do next. We already know what to do in those situations. So that's the benefit in reaching out to us. Other than that, if you're trying to start a credit repair business, there's also information there for you as well. If you're trying to help other people with their credit, I'm sorry. So I have information that can help everybody. So check out everything in the description. And again, if you guys don't have any questions on anything, I definitely appreciate all you guys for being here with me for this time to get this good information. And if you appreciated this live or you wanted some more information, you wanted me to go more in depth like this on a different topic or something else like that, make sure that you are leaving this in the comments so I can know what you guys want to learn and I can try to help you guys out in that aspect. Let me see, look like somebody says something. I don't know why the comments just disappeared like that. Okay, Rocky Star. I see you got the Credit Strong. You said it's going good. That's great. I'm glad it helped you out. Like I said, I try to only recommend things that I know can help people out and tell you how to use it so that it does best benefit you. and I'm great that it's giving you good results too. And I appreciate you for taking the advice. Now, is there anybody else that has any questions? Make sure that you leave those down in the comments. I'll be glad to answer those comments even after I get off this live. So, anybody catching the replay, still leave comments, and I'll be able to get to you guys later and answer your questions. Any information that you guys want to know beyond this, please let me know. And again, I appreciate y'all time so much. Y'all with me for almost an hour and a half this afternoon, and I really appreciate your time and you being here to learn from me. Um, I'll see you guys next time or on the next video. And you guys enjoy the rest of your week and your weekend.